Hello, babes. Welcome back to the Chase Life with Kelly show. I'm your host, Kelly Chase. I have an awesome guest on the show with us today. We literally connected just a few minutes ago, and she was like, "I'm fangirling," and I'm like, "I'm fangirling." So I'm so excited to present this guest to you. Her name is Caitlin Fladager. She is a online personality. That's what I like to call her. But she's a mother, wife, and mental health advocate, which is really very near and dear to my heart. But welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. So excited. I'm glad nobody saw my little fangirl moment earlier. I'm so excited to be here. Probably way too excited.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so backstory a little bit. Caitlin and I met. So she watched Love is Blind, and I think I just saw that she was like watching my story, or she had liked something or commented on something of mine. And I looked at her page, and then I started following her because I really loved your content. Like, it's very, and you guys may not know who she is, but you're going to know who she is after we get off this episode today. But you do a lot of things online that are quite controversial to the mainstream.
Yes,
And I don't know if it was just like, I just felt this like liberation inside. Like, hell yeah. Like, that's awesome.
that's exactly what I want people to feel like, even if they don't agree with the lifestyle I live or agree with certain parts. I just want people to be able to own what they feel is right for them and their children or just their lives. Just own what feels right for you. And if it's not right for someone else, that's okay. But just own what is right for you in your life and what works for you. That's all I'm really trying to do.
I love that. I love that so much. Oh, so
Yeah.
good. Okay. So tell us about yourself, but like from the beginning.
Oh boy. The beginning, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know where to start with that. I grew up, so I can go way back. You can totally
Yes.
just whatever you don't want. I will just go way back. So I grew up, I don't know how to explain it. My mom was a principal and my dad was a stay-at-home dad. So my family immediately from the beginning was very different than other families. The roles were very reversed. My mom was the one that worked all the time, was the more stricter parent. She's in the living room, so trying to talk quietly. But she was the more stricter parent, and my dad was more like the fun, easygoing, like home all the time, really into me and my sister's lives. So I already grew up very different than everyone else. My dad was the only dad at the pickup and drop off and field trips. And then when I got into high school, I met Noah, my husband, and I became pregnant 3 months after we graduated high school. So that was a big shock, obviously, for all of us, especially my mom, who was very big on education and teaching. I was supposed to be a teacher before I became pregnant, so I didn't have to, but I dropped out of university when I was pregnant, and then kind of became like the stay-at-home mom era of my life. And then we got married, had our second baby, went through a lot of stuff in our mid-20s, which will take a long time to cover, but I had a lot of unresolved trauma and growing up watching my parents argue and my husband's parents argue, it wasn't the best, examples. So we were kind of trying to come together and figure out how can we argue healthily when we haven't seen how to argue healthy and trying to bring the two different argument styles that we had seen growing up. Like my husband had seen the silent treatment, I had seen the complete opposite, like yelling and stuff like that. So it was hard to come together and be like, how do we find a middle ground and know that both are not healthy? And yeah, so we went through therapy, and that's what I talk a lot about now on my page is just therapy, parenting, all those things, honesty, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It is interesting that you even bring that up because so many, I want to say it's just, innate behavior. It's like we're just so programmed to, although like, I mean, I've done a lot of mentorship around relationships and love and, even like cognitive therapy, mindset, subconscious programming, all of that. And what I have learned is, like even if, for me, I'm still single and I'm like, oh, I want, I would desire to date this type of person. I would desire to have this type of partner. But what's happened is that we have such like an energetic vibration inside of us, and that vibration is actually kind of steering the ship. And therefore we tend to attract what may or may not be our
Yes.
mother or father most.
100%,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So it's like I say I want, and I love my parents, I love them. And just like you just said, you notice things about how your parents, resolved conflict or didn't. And, it's like process conflict and that of your husband's as well, your husband's parents, and want something different. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I see things in my parents that I hope to maybe not bring with me in a
hmm
future relationship.
Yes, and it's so hard to try to decide for yourself what you want to take and what you don't want to take because as a child, you look at your parents and you think they have it all together. You
Mhm.
think that they know exactly what's going on, so you trust them as you should. And I'm not saying my parents were not trustworthy. I'm just saying there are things that they learned from their parents. Then it goes back to like generational things. Yeah, so it's hard to know how do I know what I'm doing is right? Because I'm sure my parents thought what they were doing was right at the time. And how do I know what things to pull from their relationships and what things to leave there and what stops with me? So
Mhm.
that's been a big thing in therapy is trying to figure out who I am and what I want to pass on to my kids, how I want them to see relationships viewed, arguments, all those things. So it was really hard for me to look at my parents, especially as I'm sure you can relate to their generation. It wasn't talked about anything like marriage therapy, like talk to my grandparents. It's just such a different type of conversation that you have with them versus like me and you or someone in
Mhm.
their early 20s. It's so different, which I'm grateful for, but it does put like kind of a wall when you're trying to find out who you are and why they are the way they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with learning new ways of reacting and communicating and
hmm
whatnot, how has that journey been for you of like actually like integrating that to the point that you're like, this is totally like this is different. Like I am different than my parents. Cause like I said, I've gone through a lot of mentorship and I find myself like I learned something, but like, are you really learning until you're actually behaving on a
Yeah.
consistent basis in that way? And I find myself and I'm like, damn it, I did it again.
My gosh, no, and that's such a thing when me and my husband are arguing. I will slip back into something that I didn't even realize was unhealthy until 5 or 4 years ago. So it's been really hard to unlearn something that I did the whole first 25 years of my life. So it was almost at the beginning when I started this healing process of I would get mad at myself, I would blame myself, I would shut down and be like, you know better, you know that's not how you're supposed to react. But you honestly have to give yourself grace. You're unlearning stuff that your parents haven't even learned that that wasn't healthy. So you're just trying to stop it with you and you just do the best you can. And being open with your partner about it, like Noah knows all the things that I'm working on as well as what he is working on. So we give each other grace, and that's really all you can do. You give each other grace, you're honest with each other, and you apologize.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys seem to have a very uh yeah, just honest and open.
Oh, he annoys the crap out of me. Don't get me wrong.
I'm
He is
sure.
a man. He's still a man, but he's great and we are good for each other and we're constantly striving towards what we want our kids to see
That's
as healthy because it does play a huge part in what you see in your parents and how you choose a partner.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
So
I
anyways,
love that.
close
That's
the blinds.
oh yeah, you're good.
I think it's shining in my face. Okay, there we go.
I love that. Okay. So in how long have y'all been doing therapy? And do you guys do like couples and individual therapy?
So it depends on the season we're in, I guess. So we split up for a year and a half. That was a really hard time in both of our lives. I have never been so, I don't want to say mentally unstable, but I was not well. I was not a good mom. I was not a good friend. I was not a good daughter. It was all these things. And I can say that I know I was struggling, but I really was not a great person at that time.
Yeah.
So that was really when I entered into solo therapy, like just for myself. And it
Mm.
wasn't even me and Noah hadn't discussed getting back together or anything at this point. I just knew that if I wanted to keep living, honestly, I needed to get into therapy. So that was something I did. And then when my husband and I decided to take the step of there's still love there, we think we can work through this, but there's a lot of trauma that has happened. There's a lot of things that we would need to work through together. He kind of joined in with me. I never wanted to force him to go into therapy with me. That was a big thing. I wanted him to be a part of it if he wanted to. So we did couples therapy, I want to say, for a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I just transitioned into just me because I don't know, I like therapy. I think you can learn a lot about yourself, and I like being called out,
Mm.
and I like learning what I can do to be a better mom, a better wife, a better person. So I'm only 30. I don't know. I don't
Wow.
know what I'm doing. I need some help. Somebody, I will pay you. Just tell me what to do. Yeah,
Totally.
help me, please.
I love that. No, it's funny you said that about being called out. I've worked here and there. I literally am on my like journey of I guess what dating therapists. Like I need to like find a therapist. And it's like on my to-do list. And my mom is even like, Kelly, have you found a therapist yet? And I'm like, no, but I'm looking.
Oh, no, I'm totally with you on that. I mean, some of my therapists still follow me, so I'm like, there was a few of them that I just didn't click with. Like, you know how it's like a friend. You go to a certain friend if you know that you have a certain problem that they can help you with, or you like how they deal with those problems.
Right.
So I didn't like how some therapists dealt with
Right.
my problems. So I was like, yeah, you're not working out for me. I think I ghosted them, honestly. But
That's okay. That's
like,
all
yeah, I need therapy. I need therapy for that to stop ghosting
right.
people.
Right. Exactly. Yes. You're like, what is that rooted in?
Yes, what does that mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
so exhausting to be so self-aware because you constantly just want to work on yourself and you constantly are looking at what can I do to be a better person?
Oh, 100%. I literally,
Tired. I'm
okay,
tired.
so I mean, I have like, I had a conversation with someone close to me recently, and they said something that triggered me greatly, of course. And I had a conversation with my mom this weekend, and I was like, maybe she's not wrong. Like, maybe I am this person, or maybe I am this way a lot of times. Cause I was thinking about it, I'm like, like, would I do what she mentioned? Like,
Hmm.
I'm like, would I actually do that? Like a supporter help someone? And I'm like, would I actually? Or am I an
You
asshole?
probably
Like,
do you second guess yourself a lot?
oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, like ever since Love is Blind aired, like even okay, see, yes, like almost like not necessarily seeking validation. It's just a lot of second guessing, whether it's deciding maybe on something like outside of being online, but really hard online. Like I second guess everything. Like I'll go to like share, like I'll be watching, just late at night, like scrolling on my like little For You page and stuff and like looking at stuff. And I'm cracking up at all these like reels that are like, you know, maybe raunchy or
Mhm.
just but I'm cracking up. I'm like, that's my
Yeah.
humor. Like I get it. Or like comedic
Mhm.
relief in some way. And I'm like, or it's like insulting, but it's like funny, whatever. And there have been so many times that I go to like share that reel or that's whatever post to my Instagram story. And I am like, oh my God, this is gonna offend someone. I'm gonna get all these like negative messages. And so I just like I like spiritual Kelly like comes in and she's like, don't do that, like don't do it. And so I don't. And then I'm like, well, I feel like people don't really get to see like my true
Yeah.
personality because and I create, yes, I mean I do create a lot an array of content, but I
Mhm.
feel like I'm not as self-expressed as I know I
Yeah.
can be and know that I am because I hold myself back and because I second guess so much.
Feel like me and you are very, very similar. That's why I initially started following you. I don't think I follow anyone else from Love is Blind, honestly, because I don't follow people just from TV shows. I follow people that if you're on a TV show, I go look, and if I agree with what you're saying, I connect with you. So I do think we're very similar. to the fact that I used to do the same thing until me and my husband broke up. I was 25. So before that, the first 5 years, 20 to 25, I was just posting like happy family pictures, content, and I was dealing with a lot of mental health struggles, a lot of anxieties, a lot of issues in my marriage, stuff that I talk about openly now. And I wanted to talk about that stuff, but back then, Instagram was a very different place than it is now. This
Yeah.
was the era of like bikini models, vacations, picture perfect. So there was none of like the rawness that there is now, which I'm so appreciative that there is. But it
Totally.
was really hard to think that it was okay to talk about that stuff. So I just kind of kept it all in here and that internalized. And like you, I felt like I wasn't being my true, authentic self. And that was a really hard time to feel like I wasn't being myself with so many people that resonated with me online. And I was like, but how can you resonate? Because I feel like I'm not really
Right.
sharing myself. Like, and then imposter syndrome would come in, all those things. So
Mm,
that was a really
yeah.
hard time.
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand that. It's honestly, that is one of the reasons why I wanted to relaunch the podcast. Because I started this in 2021 and I've taken two breaks, like two 6-month breaks. So technically a whole year off, I guess, but here and there. And because there has been, the second thoughts, the second guessing, not really, I think that I was in my head a lot too
Yeah.
about not, I think, for any type of thing, like to, I want to say grow yourself very quickly. It's like you kind of have to like niche yourself
Hmm.
and be that type of person for everybody. Like, oh, she's the mom on Instagram,
Yes.
like
Yes.
controversial mom on Instagram. But I like her stuff and like I keep consuming it. And there's, business coaches and whatever the case may be. And it's like I just felt like I didn't have, and maybe I still don't necessarily, but action obviously creates clarity, and I'm getting more clear on what my overall message and theme is to be. But I found myself like, oh, my podcast wasn't having like this success, quote unquote, that I would have liked it to. And so I was like, maybe I'm just like not doing something right. And so
Hmm.
I was just like, I'm just going to take a break for a little bit, figure it out, get out of my head, and just figure this out later kind of thing. And so that's why I kept taking breaks. And I'm like, well, Kelly, if you just kind of continued, it probably would have gotten to where you wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Or, you would have figured it out, how to navigate a little bit more. But, sometimes a break is really healthy and to like kind of take a step back and see the
Yeah.
aerial view of things and just get really connected with the self. But because I don't feel like I'm as self-expressed online because I can't, I feel limited because it's like, oh, you can only
I
create like
feel
a
like you're put in
10-second
this
reel.
box. Yeah, you're put in this box of what you can do and what you can like and what you can share.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
becomes the shell of who you really are.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, maybe me being able to like launch the podcast again and just have open dialogue with people will help me feel more self-expressed. And then people who are, tuning in, they can actually get the real personality of me. And so that's why we're here.
And I love,
So, so
but
happy.
I do want to say your personality does shine through, like through your stories.
Thank you.
You feel pretty much the same here as you do over there. So you do
Thanks.
shine still.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's good. Good to know. Thank you. Okay, so okay, so let's dive into this. So Caitlin, like I keep talking about controversial stuff. She smokes weed.
I know it's a word
And
you say when you say
I'm
that you don't
like, I don't know how to say it. She smokes
monetize.
weed a lot. She chooses weed over alcohol, which I'm like, okay, I get it. I totally get that. I don't have hangover either, but I'm choosing alcohol over weed.
Yeah.
But I just love that. So that's one thing that's highly controversial. And then the way that you dress sometimes, I think
Yes.
is
That's
like
a
what
new one.
that's
That's
a
a
new
new
one.
one, honestly, that I've gotten. And I think it's because of my breast augmentation that I had. Because
Hmm.
I have always dressed the same. If you look back on photos from like 4 to 5 years ago, even, I've always loved like little short skirts, like bodysuits. And that's just what I like to dress in. I don't really have a reason why. I was never really sheltered of wearing anything in my childhood that I could think of. That's what I like to wear. So
Totally.
I noticed it as soon as I got my breast done after breastfeeding my kids a year and a half ago. That was when all the people started coming and being like, "What are you wearing? Why are you wearing this?" And I think that is something. So my sister, she naturally has a bigger chest than I do. And when I was contemplating getting breast surgery, that was something she said. She was like, "You are an A. You can wear tank tops in the summer and no one looks twice." I am like bigger and I can't even go in a tank top without men looking or people commenting if I post a picture. And I was like, "Oh, what are you talking about? People
Mm.
don't do that. Nobody cares. I don't think that." And I really, really felt that. It's been
Uh,
a huge thing that people really don't like now. So that like it's been a journey to get to accepting that I did go bigger with my breast augmentation and that's just what it
mm.
is now. I just have to let people have their opinion because I put it out there, which is hard because I'm sure you hear all the time, "Well, you put it out there. You
Oh
should
yeah,
expect." Okay, I expect opinions. I don't expect to get like verbally assaulted every day, like
totally.
Reddit pages, just all the things that come with it, just dedicated to the chest. Like I did not expect
Wow.
that.
That's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, but yeah, you should expect that. Yeah. Well, you signed up for that.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
one. It's like,
I
yes,
didn't
you're right.
expect to
I
get
signed up.
bullied. Like,
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I signed up for a show to find love. I did not sign
yes.
up for people to verbally assault me online. Correct.
And like
Emotional abuse.
I noticed that whenever you post about Love is Blind, which I love because I'm all about do what you need to do to grow your business,
Right.
obviously, is who I am. And I feel like that's something people pick apart now too. They're like, "You did this 6 years ago, move on." And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey, if you did a really good job at something and it went really far, like at your normal 9 to 5 job, if you did amazing, got this huge promotion, you would probably still be talking about it five
Right.
to 6 years later. That's who
Totally.
you are. That's how you got a platform. What else do people expect you to talk about?" I would be talking
Right.
about it every day. If I was in Love is Blind, I'd be like, "Remember 12 years ago? Yeah, that was."
Oh yeah. It's so funny too, because okay, so when Love is Blind first aired, I mean, I was so exhausted. I mean, just because as you started to ask me about, and we can kind of cover that right now, but just kind of how you you said that you let's oh my God, I'm stumbling over my words. Okay,
No,
so
ask me
when
anything.
okay, let's just take it to you first. When you first started posting online and like growing your Instagram account, were you doing it for fun at first? Were you doing it like, hey, you know what? There's something to this. Let me grow a business out of this. Like, and how did that journey go for you, progress for you?
So when I started, Instagram influencers, content creators, they weren't a thing. It was really blogging was a big thing
Mhm.
back then. So let's take it back. This was like 2013. So blogging was huge then.
Yeah, it
And I
was.
was not into that. I do love writing, but I was not into blogging. I was working at a grocery store and then we moved so my husband could start his plumbing career.
Mm.
So we moved 10 hours away from all of our family with this 3-month-old baby. I was 19 years old. My husband is working far into the city. I couldn't drive. So we lived on this farm, rural area with his uncle who I had never met before. He just offered for us to come and live on his farmhouse with him, bless his heart. But I had never met him before. So it was just me, this 19-year-old, 3-month-old baby. My husband's always gone. And there was nothing else to do really besides take pictures, and hang out with my baby. And I just started taking pictures, and I've always looked younger than I am. So when I was 19, I think I looked like I was 13. So
Yes.
when I was posting with a baby, I was getting a lot of comments like, "How old are you? This doesn't feel legal." All those things that you get now. So I kind of just took that and saw it as, oh, maybe like people like what I post. Because I was also getting on the other side a lot of positive comments like, "You're a good mom. I was a young mom too. This is really inspiring to see you enjoy having a baby at 19 years old, still being with the father," all these things. So at that point, I never saw it as a money maker, like business opportunity. I just saw it as honestly validation, online validation, because I've always seeked that ever since I was a child. So that was something that I was always craving was people just to like me and understand me and like my stories. So I kind of went that way with it for a while, and that's how I became this shell of like only sharing what I felt like people wanted to see because I had created this version of myself since I was 19.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I did that just for fun for like 5 years. I didn't make a dime from it for a long time until after I had my son. And then I started getting approached by agencies when the whole Instagram boom happened of, Kylie Jenner and all those people that kind of made it a thing. And then I was like, well, I already love doing this. Why don't I make it a job? And yeah, it's been my job for around 5 to 6 years now.
Mm.
It's been an interesting road here.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you, I mean, like you said, there were some that were being critical of you and who you were. How did you handle that first? And now since you've been doing it for so long, how do you handle it?
So I don't know if you remember what Ask FM was, but that was the first site people could ask anything anonymously. Horrible, horrible bullying site. That was really big when I started getting bigger on Instagram and Facebook. So that kind of was another really hard thing to get over was people could just anonymously say anything they wanted to and it would translate over to Instagram. So
Mm.
I will say now I'm not 100% there. Comments do still bug me. They don't keep me up at night, but like when I read them, I do get like a pit in my stomach and I feel sad because I want people to see me, and I feel like a lot of times they just go off of a little snippet of you. So to answer your question, 10 years ago, I would cry. I would not log on to Instagram for a few days. It would cause a lot of arguments between me and my husband because he's the type of person he does not care what people think about him at all. And I wish I was like that, but we would clash because I would be so upset. I'd be crying. I would be avoiding my phone, and he would be like, who cares? Like, who cares what they say? And we would really, really clash over my feelings. And I felt like they weren't validated at that moment because
Right.
they were really awful comments when I was 19, 20. So I don't want to say time made it better, but I do think time did help of just 10 years. This sounds horrible, but 10 years of reading over and over constant horrible things. I'm like, okay, I've heard it all. I've read it all. Like nothing really is new at this point. So I think that and therapy has helped. But there is a positive side to it because I've never been good with people not liking me. I've never been good with people talking badly about me. And I
Mhm.
think this job has really, really helped me realize that people will say what they think. Not everyone is going to like you, and you have to be okay with who you are at the end of the day, or it will eat you alive.
Totally. Absolutely. That's great advice. I definitely have to keep that in my head.
Hard is hard.
It's hard. It is hard. Well, that's what I was gonna say is like when the show first rolled out,
Mhm.
I had worked with a couple of brand managers and they were like, you need to get on TikTok, you need to do YouTube, you need to do this. And I'm like, I work a freaking 9 to 5 job. I am trying to run a business. I now have this new platform. Like I am so tired. And I just ran on fumes for a year after that show came out. But so I think I posted a TikTok like twice and I was like, I literally can't do it.
Mhm.
And so over the last couple of years, though, I have been showing up a little bit more frequently on TikTok. And it did feel I had a friend who had started posting a lot on Instagram, and then she felt really icky about it, and she started posting more on TikTok. And she was like, I don't know, I just feel like freer over there. Like I just like don't even care who watches my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And I felt the same way when I started posting on TikTok too. Like I would create something, post it, and like walk away for 5 days. Like I'd never even went back to look to see
Yeah.
my views or anything like that. Whereas on Instagram, like addicted to going 5 minutes later, looking to see how many people have liked it, how many people have viewed it, who's
So true.
commented, all the things already, and so negatively affecting my mental health. And so I just have this like lighter feel about TikTok. And even to this day, where yes, I mean, I posted something, what was it, a week and a half ago, and it went viral on TikTok. And I was like, oh my
I
God.
saw
And
that. I saw that. I was like, good for you, girl.
thank you. I was like, oh my God. I mean, thought only 5 people would see it, but it was so funny. And I'm like, but I started reading some of the comments and
Mhm.
you're right in the sense of like now, yes, some of them still sting and I get that pit in my stomach, but it is like I'm a little bit more neutral to it now where I'm like, okay, these people don't even know me and it's whatever. But like, had I gotten those negative responses when that show first rolled out or within those first 2 years after the show rolled out, it was like paralyzing for me.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't like I mean, yes, I would catch them. It would hit me very hard and I would just respond back like please choose kindness on my page, because I didn't want to like I'm like it's dumb, but and that's the way that I could lighten it, I guess, for myself. But then I was just like, I just can't. And then I would get these messages. And it's so funny because like every time a new season of Love is Blind comes out, I get at least a couple of messages still like, you're gonna be alone forever, you're gonna die alone, like all these things. And I'm like, what? It's like, whatever. And it's so
I don't know why that surprises me at all.
yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
horrible.
it's crazy. Yeah. It's just really and just like nasty, like, oh, he dodged a bullet. And it's like I think it's so triggering for me because, like, obviously the show has been produced a certain way for the viewing
Yes.
public. And, like, I know the truth of the story. And so when I was pinned as a quasi villain in a sense, I'm like, that's not true. Like,
It probably kills you inside to know what actually happened. And I can't relate because I've never been on a TV show, but because of what me and my husband have gone through, I was also pegged as the villain. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't made public about like what my husband and I went through, but everything that was the stuff that the mistakes that I made. So I totally relate to you on that, where people are like, your husband should have never got back together with you. He deserves
aw,
better, all these things. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's true, but I'm saying there's two sides to every story, and you
aw,
only have heard my side. Like, I don't know if you go on Reddit, but stay off Reddit.
I don't.
I I have not gone on there in 3 years and I refuse to. Because the last time I did, it angered me like to read these things that weren't true and people were making up guesses about our relationship or dragging me and just taking a part of a story and adding on to it. And I'm sure you understand the infuriation where you read something and you're like, that is the farthest thing from the truth.
Yes.
I am not the only villain here. Like there's so much more to the story.
Right.
And
Yes.
I
Oh, yeah.
totally
It's yes,
understand that.
it's like infuriating. And it was funny because I started like right when the show aired, I actually was like very vocal about the true story. And
Mhm.
Netflix like came for me and they were like, you cannot
Okay.
share that. Like like this can create a lawsuit if you continue to say that. Like
Oh,
move on. Like they were just like, move on with your life. Like get like just start
yeah, move
showing
on
up.
and be the villain and take all the hate from
Right.
everyone, but we don't want a lawsuit, so don't say what actually happened.
Right. And I was like, damn it. So I couldn't, I mean, granted, now it's like later and I
Does
do.
that matter? Did it have a timeline of okay, now you're free to talk about what you want or
Okay, guys, y'all know, well, you may not know this, but I have been kind of on this super curious journey for a year, maybe longer. But in all true transparency and honesty, I like having a little buzz. Obviously, I don't think any of us like how we feel when we're hungover, of course. So I think my biggest thing is trying to like have like one or two drinks and cutting it off. But I also have gut issues. And I know that if I just eliminated alcohol from my life, then I probably would be able to heal my gut like once and for all. Especially because I believe back in like 2014 when I was like super under eating and restricting myself, but yet like binge drinking, I think it really did a lot of damage to my gut because it had nothing to like soak it up. And it was just in a really bad place. So, anyways, but I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I'm really going to like if that I'm ever going to be sober, but I would like to be more sober. And here's the thing. I don't drink like I'm not that type of person who comes home and like pours a glass of wine for myself after work and drinks solo. I mean, maybe I can count on my right hand how like that I've done that. But otherwise, it's a social thing for me. When I'm out and about at a friend's house, I just like holding a cup. And granted, I have definitely not indulged in alcoholic beverages. Um, from time to time, and I just grab water or grab like a soda or something like that, or club soda or something, and it's fine. It's like I just have the comfort of the cup or the glass, right? But with all that being said, it's also, maybe it's just not as fun sometimes, and all of that. But anyways, all that to say, I was introduced to this brand. It's called Apothecary. You may have seen their ads online as well. I mean, that's honestly, I saw some other influencers posting about Apothecary, and then I saw ads on Apothecary, and I'm like, okay, like at least give me an alternative. But then I started exploring their entire website. And first of all, I realized that it is like women owned, women founded, and that's just incredible right there altogether. Like I freaking love that, because women supporting women in business. Business is hard. Business, like being an entrepreneur, it's not the easiest, breeziest thing to do. So just being able to support another woman in her business adventures, I'm here for it. And particularly love this brand because I also am an extremely holistic person. I 9 times out of 10, I'm going to see a holistic, naturopathic, functional integrative medicine doctor over traditional Western medicine. Nothing against it. I just prefer it, get to the root cause, using food and herbs and tinctures and spices and things like that to help actual healing of the gut and other ailments that you might be having. So again, Apothecary that is what this brand is. It's all about that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to tell you about my few favorite products that I've been using, and then I'm going to tell you about, or not tell you, but I'm just going to show you a couple of the other ones that I will use from time to time. So, which I'm honestly going to start using all of them all together every day on a very regular basis. But again, anyways, so Apothecary, their mission is to empower a more natural way of life through vetted herbal remedies, holistic education, and personalized telemedicine for long-term health and well-being. All of their products are made with real whole plants and do not contain GMOs, fillers, artificial chemicals, or additives. So you're really getting the most potent version of the herbs. So 100% real plants, and it's certified organic when available and gluten-free. And again, no artificial chemicals, fillers, or GMOs. So this one is probably the one that I use the most. This right here, if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see it. I am doing a live video of this, but this has never been bitter, and never been bitter. The benefits, never been bitter. Okay, so I've done acupuncture in the past, and I worked with an herbalist, and the herbalist actually gave me bitters a long time ago. I don't have them anymore. So this came so in clutch. Basically, never been bitters. It promotes healthy digestive, nourishes the gut microbiome, calms digestive disturbances. So if you have long-term gut issues, raise my hand, liver and digestive woes, and I do have a slightly weakened liver considering the copious amounts of liquor that I have consumed over 20 years. So less and less, but like I said, so if you have any bloating or digestive issues, or, from eating out, or just even, getting stress, like stress number one, that is going to really affect inflammation a lot. Frequent travel can also do it. Plus, literally, this is how big it is. It's super tiny. It's 1.22 ounces. So tiny, can throw it in your purse, easy to travel with, take on an airplane, that kind of thing. Yes, you can take it on an airplane. That's amazing. Again, it's 100% natural herbs, zero sugar. You basically would just take a bit of the tincture, squeeze it up, and then I'm just going to do it so you guys can see. But you can put it on the top of your tongue or under your tongue and just let it sit there for 10 to 15 seconds. Let it kind of really get into your taste. What is that called? Not your taste, your taste buds, I guess. But anyways, and anytime, before meals, 10 to 15 minutes before meals, or anytime you feel that digestive discomfort, go ahead and just drop some of this in your tongue. You can also add it to water, tea, smoothies, mocktails. Hello. Why were we even talking about cocktails earlier? So that would be great. Second favorite product, and speaking to my social drinking, is this. This is Wine Down. And I think that this is one of their products, or maybe their number one product, due to a lot of people out there being sober curious. The Wind Down, sleep enhancing, calms feelings of stress, eases body discomfort. It delivers similar relaxation and sleep inducing benefits as a glass of red wine, minus the alcohol, minus the hangover, and minus the sugar. So if you are looking for a deep sleep and relaxation aid with red wine vibes, this is definitely the herbal alcohol alternative for you. It has elderberry, California poppy, and L-theanine in it. L-theanine increases serotonin and dopamine. California poppy, stress-induced tension relief and restful sleep. And the elderberry is for antioxidant rich and immune support. So love that. As we all know, nobody wants a hangover. Nobody wants a hangover. So this, like I said, red wine, or the Wine Down, excuse me, is what you are going to love. Let's see, my next one, and it's the same thing, in the evenings or in moments when there's, when deep rest and relaxation is desired, put one full dropper on or under the tongue, let it sit there for 10 seconds. You can also add it to sparkling water, mocktails, or tea. You can probably throw it in a smoothie or something too. Like they're just herbs. They're literally just herbs, but it's promoting good health. My next favorite is this rose tinted glasses. This is mood boosting, skin restoring, stress support. I just love the names of these, right? Like rose tinted glasses, Wine Down, never been better. So anyways, continuing on with the rose tinted glasses, it's like zero proof rosé inspired tincture made with uplifting herbal ingredients that boost the mood, provide mental clarity, ease feelings of stress, and even nourish the skin. It's made for you if you are looking for calm daytime energy while feeling alert, present, and uplifted. Adaptogenic and antioxidant rich ingredients make this formula great for those battling feelings of stress and looking to curb signs of aging with improved skin tone and moisture also. You definitely could compare this product to a glass of rosé minus the hangover and dependencies on wine and alcohol and that kind of thing. So it's providing the mental clarity, supporting healthy skin, boosting mood, all of that. And again, these are all the droppers. Now let's move on to this herb. So this product is called the Soothe Operator. I love this one as well. I'm obviously like a smooth operator, Soothe Operator. The benefits of this are digestive support. Again, for my gut healing, I'm like, let me take all the things that are going to help my gut. So Soothe Operator, digestive support, immune support. This root heavy herbalist crafted blend, excuse me, supports healthy gut flora to put a bubbly gut and other belly disturbances on hold. It's made with nourishing roots and flowers. It supports smooth moves all the way down the digestive tract, unlocking a calm and more balanced microbiome. So that's the thing. We got to get our microbiome, more balanced. Let's see. And then, again, with this, because it's not a tincture, it's actually a powder. It will come with a little spoon, and that's it's like half a teaspoon. You dip it in. When your gut could use a little like herbal TLC, you add 1 to 2 teaspoons into warm water. You don't want to do like cold water because then it'll just be powdery, but you would do it in warm water, then it'll dissolve better, maybe like aloe vera juice, hibiscus tea, any type of tea. Or you can even, what I have actually been doing with this, I have actually been sprinkling some on top of my food. Like I'll make like grilled or like baked fish or chicken dishes or salads. And I just like sprinkle it on top. So you can totally do whatever you want. Again, it's not going to hurt you. It's herbs. So these, I'm just loving these products. So I just wanted to talk about them, in case you're needing a little bit, of an alternative approach. I am definitely, like I said, just more of a holistic, homeopathic, naturopathic kind of person. I don't agree that much with Western medicine. Not to knock it. I take Western medicine and I go see traditional Western medicine doctors in the times that I need it. But I eat really healthy. I think it all matters, like trying to add more greens into your life and eat a more, balanced diet, eliminating gluten, dairy, soy, corn, processed sugars, things like that, in conjunction with using these herbal remedies is only going to improve your health, make you feel better. And that's what we really want, is to feel better. So a few more that I love about Apothecary, or a few more things that I'm loving, or that I'm gonna start loving because I haven't used them that much or as much. But the Firm Believer, this is for supple skin. Firm Believer. We have this another one, an herb one, Stop Your Whining. So again, kind of like another like wine or alcohol alternative. This one is Chill the Fuck Out. I love this one. Obviously to banish burnout, reduce stress, that kind of thing. And then this one is Take the Edge Off. We all need a little bit of that. Powerful tension relieving herbs, passion flower, skullcap, linden, evoking notes of a delicate white wine that calms in a moment's notice. So again, all of these can, or particularly the tinctures, can all be added to like water, mocktails, make a mocktail with all of these, and it just feels good. You feel, you're putting healthy ingredients into your body, and overall that feels good. So babe, please go check out Apothecary. Promise you won't be disappointed. Use code Kelly15 at checkout for 15% off of your orders of over $75. Guys, remember, gut health and mental health, they are connected. So whether you're being sober curious and you want to try one of these tinctures, or you need some gut support or skin support or stress relief, definitely check out Apothecary. Again, use code Kelly15 at checkout for 15% off of your orders of over $75. I love y'all. And let's get to the episode. Like a year and a half ago, I guess, that's when I started showing up on TikTok. And that's when I started, I just felt compelled to start creating some like Love is Blind, like behind the scenes content. And it obviously, that's what's like kind of built a bit of a following over there on TikTok for me. But yeah, they had reached out, production had reached out and were like, yeah, like, I was like, well, I'm no longer in contract. And they were just like, yeah, well, there's just some things you just still can't say and talk about. And I was like, and so they had me remove some videos, and like, I kind of got it. I kind of understood like why, like they were just like, we don't want you to ruin the experience for potential like future contestants kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I get it. So I sifted through. I didn't remove everything, but I sifted through a lot, and I removed some behind the scenes that could be,
Well, I'm sure we've all heard anyways about the Love is Blind allegations. So we've all heard that. It was not because of you. So
yeah,
just
no. Yes, exactly. So, but it is fun to talk about. Yes, it's irritating when people are like, oh, you're still trying to be relevant, like all this stuff. And I'm like, you're right. Every single time a season comes on, I am the OG season. I will always be relevant. And you're right. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to comment about it, whatever. And there will be a time that I don't watch the show, and that's fine too. And I will move on, and maybe I'll pick here and there what seasons I want to, comment on or whatever and watch. Sometimes it just depends on the season of my life, and I can choose to do it. But yes, it does boost my engagement, and that is fine. So
as it should.
As it should.
Why do you think some people go on the show now? I'm just saying.
That is true.
So I wanted to ask you though, because you mentioned you worked after the show came out.
Yeah.
So you just went, like, you filmed and then you just did normal life until the show came out. What was that like for you?
Yeah. So
like I'm like switching. Like, tell me what that was like.
It's great. No, I love it. Okay, so I was working in 2007, like July of 2017, I left a corporate job and I started pursuing my like health coaching and life coaching journey. Started doing that. And so I was full-time, or really it was like part-time work, but I was making a full-time salary in a sense, doing the health coaching and fitness training. And then 2018 is when, like a year later, 2018 is when we started filming Love is Blind. During that year, 2018, kind of burned through my savings. I mean, I traveled a little bit. I was just on this whole personal development journey. And I say, yes, I burned through my savings, but I was using that money to like invest in like I worked with a coach and that was a $6,000 program or something, and but granted, I made like majority of my money back while I was still in her course, still in the program. And I just like I was working with like a functional medicine doctor. Like I was using it in a good way. Let's put it that way. So then I got into debt. And I
Yes.
was like, perfect, that's great. So I was like, I have to get a job. So I tried, like, my parents kept saying, they were like, Kelly, you cannot keep doing this to yourself. Like, you're so stressed out and whatever. So, and this was like after we filmed Love is Blind. And I, again, like, put more on a credit card. I worked with a coach, like, one-on-one, and which was very helpful coming off the show. Um,
Pause that story for 1 second. I'm sorry.
it's
These
okay.
blinds are like, there we go. They're gonna be the death of me. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
just noticed that they were like, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, so after the show, I started working with a mindset coach, and it was kind of like therapy for me. I mean, I cried so much. It brought up a lot from past traumas to the show stuff and all of that, and it helped me realize a lot of things. And then, so that was great. But then financially, I was just super struggling. But I kept trying to like make my business work at the time. And I think just because I was like, my nervous system was so shot that I was like, I'm trying too hard and it's coming across that way online. Like it just was not conducive for my mental health at all. And so in 2019, I went back into the 9 to 5 space. So 2019, and then the show aired, and I was still working at this new, like that corporate job. But I was highly stressed out because that job, like, because I was in a desperate need for money at the time in 2019 when I got the job, I took whatever I could. And it was like a $40,000 year job. And I'm like,
You do what you can when
you got
you
to
need
do
to
what
get
you
by.
can. You got to do what you can. But I'm like $30,000 in debt. I'm making only enough money, literally paycheck to paycheck to pay my bills.
Mhm.
So I was still working, like I was picking up liquor promotions because I've done that for like 15 years and that's good, fast money. And I was like, okay, I'll do that because I've also been a bartender and I tried that in 2019 and I was like, tried it again in 2019. And I was like, can't do this. Can't be up till 4 a.m. Can't do that. So I was just like, trying to, the show comes out. I'm working this 9 to 5 job. I'm there from 7 to, 4 o'clock, 7 to 5 or 8 to 5 every single day. It's not benefiting me in the way that I needed. Like I was so tired and burnt out. And now I'm like getting all these like brand deals and I'm like, have to show up and
Yes.
create content. And I'm like, so I get home from work, I got to create the content. And the content was so fucking corny because one, I didn't use the products because they
Mhm.
just sent them to me. And they're like,
Yes, yes, I relate to
oh,
that.
here you go. And I'm like, I haven't even used it. Like, how am I? Like, I don't know. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, sure, I might use it. And there are a couple of those products that I got 4 years ago that I still use to this day. But for the most part, nope. But I was like in this desperation of I need money to pay off my savings as well as to leave my fucking corporate job. Like, I
Yes,
can't do
yes,
this anymore.
totally.
So, and plus I was like trying to work my coaching business at that time too. And that's more or less where I was putting a lot of the focus, but it felt like I had 5 full-time jobs. Like
It sounds like you did.
yeah. And then I was like showing up on my Instagram all the time and, creating content and all my Instagram stories. And I mean, to say my mental health was not in a good place. I was also not sleeping very well. Not all the time at all, but there were times that I was definitely like taking Adderall to stay awake or to like um help take me through the day at
Yeah.
least. And I probably like like Saturday, Sunday, I would sleep in and lay around, or I would go hang out with friends. But I was so energetically depleted. Like I remember towards like the later half of 2020, I would wake up like Monday morning and I was like, okay, like I hate this. I'm, starting all over again. Here we go. But then I would by Wednesday, literally 2 days later, I was so tired already. And again, that's probably when I started taking the Adderall or like trying to drink energy drinks or coffee, which caffeine bothers the crap out of me. So it's like, it was just gut issues, like all galore. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really tampering with my health here too. But then, yeah, just like Thursday, Friday, I was so burnt out, so run down. Saturday morning, like I would go to bed at like maybe 9 o'clock on a Friday night, wake up at like 11. So over 12 hours of sleep. And it felt like I had not slept. That's how tired I
Oh
was.
my gosh.
It was absolutely insane. And like there was a day I was like, Kelly, you have to like get outside and like go ground yourself or something. Like you're just constantly on. And it took me like, I mean, I literally went from like my bedroom to the couch, which is not a long walk, and like got myself ready and like had to sit on my couch before I walked out to the garage to drive to the park to go to the grass. Like so tired. My adrenals were absolutely shot. Granted, I lay on the grass for a little while and it would help like rejuvenate me.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, good. Now I can like go do something with my friends. And then it
Yeah,
was
so here.
this like constant cycle. And then Sunday I'm like maybe hungover and then
Yeah. Oh yeah.
thing over again. So it was really bad cycle. So anyways, 2021, so a year, literally a year after the show aired, I had two panic attacks. I assume that's what they were because I'd never experienced it before. Woke up at 6 a.m. Valentine's weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 6 a.m. Heart racing, mind racing. I was like, oh my God. And I was trying to like breathe it through and I never experienced it. So I'm trying to make it stop, which apparently makes it worse and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, it was the worst. I went and lived with my parents for a week, took PTO from that job and came back, heightened stress again, worked 3 more weeks and wrote my boss. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm quitting. Letting go.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good
So
for you.
it was a lot. So with that being said, I took another year and a half off. Just worked on my coaching business and the brand deals that I could get.
Mhm.
It was rough on my nervous system again because I didn't have I didn't really have like a true structure with my coaching. I was just kind of like throwing spaghetti against a wall, hoping it would stick in a sense. And some months I'd have a handful of clients and it would be a great month. And other months I saw $400 come in.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is just
It's a roller
the
coaster.
craziest roller coaster, and it's hard because you feel like you can't even enjoy the good months when you have them because you're like, oh, what about next month? Or what about
Right.
6 months after that? What about 5 years? What am I doing in 5 years? Like these are things that keep me up at night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it was again hard on my nervous system and I had some other issues going on. That I was like, okay, I'm stressed out about that stuff. I don't like what can I control? So in
Right.
2000, December of 2022, I got a new 9 to 5 and I'm currently there.
Good for you though, honestly, for never giving up and getting a 9 to 5 and not being embarrassed about it because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they think once you quit a job, you
Yeah.
need to make that business work. And if you have to go back to a 9 to 5 to supplement a little bit while
Right.
your business is a bit slower, it's embarrassing and it's not. That's how you make your business work. That's how entrepreneurs get successful. They don't give up. They go back to the hard parts when it's getting a bit slower. So I really commend you for talking about that. And I think that's very, very admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It definitely feels like that. It felt like that a handful of times. It's like I just felt like a failure and it was embarrassing and like, oh, like although I'm not hearing it from anyone else, you make the assumption that people are saying it about you, like, oh, her business actually must not be doing that great if she had to get a 9 to 5 job, and it's like, you're right. But granted, yeah, I had a 12K month a couple of times,
Yeah.
it's like, and that it was great, paid my bills, was able to like add to my savings a little bit, float me for a little while. But yeah, just it was so hard. And the biggest thing with anything that we're doing, relationships to our health, everything is just having that safety within your nervous system. And because otherwise you are running on autopilot, you're probably going to have that panic attack at some point, like, or nervous breakdown, mental breakdown, something is going to happen, or your adrenals are just going to be in total burnout. You're going to have health issues.
Especially when me and you are on social media so much, it's hard not to compare yourself to
Totally.
what you see. Like all I see on my For You page is business owners who have yachts, and like my husband does the same thing. He has worked so hard on his business, and I said to him last night, I was like, hey, we should celebrate. Your business is turning 5 years old this year. Like me thinking that's amazing. Like a lot of people don't make it that long,
Yeah.
and he's done so well. And he immediately got like upset about it. He said, I feel like I haven't done
Mm.
nearly as much as I thought I would at 5 years. I thought I'd have A, B, C done, all these things. And I was like, well, I look at it as you made it to year 5. You've done it all on your own. You have a business partner. You've had multiple employees. You've had many contracts. And it's so funny how we can compare ourselves to people that we don't even really know. Because my husband follows a lot of those entrepreneurial guys that are like, plumbers in California, and they're showing all their new trucks and all their new tools. And my husband's like, I just love that truck. I want that truck one day. Like, good for him. He's so supportive of those people, but he's not supportive of himself, I find. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, is that comparison of they should be farther along, they should be doing more, they should be making more money. And
Yeah,
if they're not, it's just a fail.
absolutely.
Really
Yeah.
not.
No, it's not. It's not. So, thank you for saying that, just about it being commendable, because it is. Like, I'm very proud of myself and I'm doing well in my career, and the position that I have allows a lot of, like, I pretty much do work remote because I'm in outside sales. So
Yeah.
I go and meet with people all the time, which I love because I love connecting with people. It gets me out of my house, which is something I needed for my mental health too. Like, so it came in, I kept writing. I heard this like through one of my mentors, but something like, kind of just like a prayer of like, send me an opportunity in a perfect way with perfect, like under grace in a perfect way with perfect pay. And I just kept saying that. And it was interesting because the position that I'm in, I actually applied for a lower level position because I didn't even know that this one existed. And when I had my first interview with the manager, he was just telling me like, hey, like these are our open positions, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, actually, I'm more qualified for that position. And he goes, oh, like, yeah, you actually are. Let's go ahead and like move you over here. And I'm like, thank God it was like 20,
Amazing.
25. It was like 20,000 more dollars. I'm
That
like,
is amazing.
yes, thank you. I'm like,
My
but
God.
I'm so proud of myself too for having the confidence to even speak up about that,
Yeah, that's
and like
huge.
ask for what I wanted. And like I said, it really is just has been a breath of fresh air. I mean, yes, there are points like yesterday. So I had an actual PTO day off. It was a Monday, had a PTO day, but my mom was like, yeah. So my parents were going on vacation, and my mom was like, I just wish that you could just like drive out there with us and be with us for the longevity of our vacation. And I was like, yeah, I do too. And it's things like that. Or like just going, I mean, when I wasn't working the 9 to 5s, having that freedom and flexibility to just go home on a Wednesday for the whole day if I wanted to, or go grab lunch with friends like during the week, and not have to like get back to work. So there's certain things about the career that I'm in that, you know, I think until you are really in that entrepreneurial space of working for yourself, you're never really going to have the ultimate freedom that you're looking for. So, but I love my career that I'm in. I'm going to stay there for a while. Like, I'm not leaving or anything anytime soon. I mean, unless something quite lovely comes along.
So I have a question for you. If you were presented the opportunity, would you do another reality TV show, or do you think you're one and done? That was enough for you?
I would definitely do it. No, I would definitely do another reality TV show, obviously, depending on what it is. But even if it was like a dating show, I think that would be super fun. So yeah, I mean, I definitely would do another one. And reasons behind that is I feel like I was quite reserved when we were
Mhm.
filming Love is Blind.
Well, it
Like,
was so new to you too. I'm sure having cameras and like I talk to my camera for a living, and I still don't think I could ever be quite
yeah.
comfortable with a whole set coming in and like no thanks.
Yeah, like I just feel like I just wasn't. And granted, kind of going back to our conversation earlier about second guessing things, it was like I had just started months prior to on this whole personal development journey, so I'm learning all this stuff, and I think I was in my head a lot, and so I wasn't able to like really be myself, or and not to say that I wanted to be more dramatic or whatever, but I think that I could have been a
Mhm.
little bit more entertaining than I
Well,
was.
how are you supposed to know? I don't know how this side, like I only know my side of the business, which is very different than reality TV, but I do feel like they have some similarities.
Yeah,
And it just, how do you know how you're going to come across, like what the editors are going to do, what they're going to pick? You have hours and hours, I'm assuming, of footage. I
totally.
would just be in my head constantly. Like I would say something stupid. I'd be like, oh my God, what if they air that? Or
Oh,
like I
for
would say
sure.
something funny and I'm like, what if they don't air that? Like I would just not be.
Yeah, yeah.
So I commend you for going through what you went through with that show coming out. It could not be easy for anyone, especially with the newest season. I feel
Yeah.
so bad. Like since I understand sort of, I just feel
Oh,
bad for everyone all the time and I want to like fight in the comments even though
I
I don't know
know.
anyone, but I'm like, you don't know anyone that's on
I
in a
know.
public platform, you know? You don't know them.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know. The keyboard warriors are the worst.
Oh, gosh. Give me a headache talking about it. The
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. So um, okay, so how did you start, I guess, creating content around smoking pot online? And like, how did that affect
So
things?
that was kind of an accident, I guess. I was just posting consistently and making stories of my day-to-day life. And one day, I don't think I'd ever seen anyone, well, especially a mom, I'd seen like, Snoop Dogg post about it, but that was about it. And I was just in the backyard with my husband, and he had got me this new like little, I don't know what they're called, pipe. I'm totally blank there. A pipe. And it was so cute. It was shaped like an elephant. And I took a picture of it and I just posted it. And I was like, oh, this was so sweet. Like, I don't know if anyone else smokes, but this was like the cutest thing ever. It's available here. This is where he got it from. And it was a story. And I
Mm.
remember I got like 500 plus comments on it, like saying, oh my goodness, I never knew you smoked, and all the benefits that it had helped for them because it had really helped me through my anxiety and depression and things like that when anxiety pills weren't really doing anything for me, honestly. I know they help a lot of people. They're amazing for a lot of people, which I love that. I wish they had worked for me the way they did for other people, but they didn't. So that's why I started exploring into that area. And then so after I made that story, I was like, oh, I'll just make a Facebook post. So I love posting on Facebook. I've always loved Facebook for some reason. And then it kind of just went insane on there. I just made a little sign that I was holding up and it said something along the lines of moms are still good moms if they smoke weed or something, comparing it to wine or something like that. And it just kind of went insane. It got like 400,000 shares. It went all over the place. Like all of a sudden, all these news outlets were contacting me, and I was like, what is happening? This is like 6 years ago or 5 years ago. I'm like, what is happening? I don't understand. What's the big deal? And then I started realizing there is this huge gap in what people still think of the plant, especially if you talk to your grandparents. It's
Mm.
just this huge generational gap. So, I don't know, my dad, he was never really worried about it. He smoked growing up, so I never realized how much of a divide there was towards this plant. So that's when I started making content towards moms, and I would get a lot of messages saying that they wish moms would talk more about it and what it helps with parenthood and how we're not drug addicts and CPS isn't going to come take your kids away, obviously
Right.
within the guidelines. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Right.
not this huge, scary thing. So I really took that and just ran with it because it had helped me so much, my marriage so much,
Mm.
our sex life so much, just everything. So I started posting more about the positives of it. And that's how I've gotten to where I am now with it, honestly.
I love it. I love it. I think it's fun just watching your content around it though. And like, I know you involve your son at least.
I try to make it, which is also controversial, which I totally understand. But I try to make it fun and lighthearted and involving my kids in it. I feel like kind of, I don't know, it makes it seem as not bad of a drug as people thinks it is.
Right.
And my son loves to be in videos. I've really taken a step back and said no because I'm sure you've seen all
Yeah.
the social media stuff with kids being in social media in the spotlight. So I think I took like a good year break of him being in really anything. I just focused on myself and my husband being in them. And I've kind of not even slowly dip back in. He's been in one in like the past 6 months, but it's been hard finding that balance too, which is really hard as a mom on social media to try
Yeah.
to balance those things. But yeah,
Um,
that's how I started posting about it more and trying to make it more fun and lighthearted and showing that it's not this super serious, scary thing.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And your son likes to be in the videos, but your daughter doesn't really like to.
She is a preteen. She thinks it's cool when her friends at school will be like, "Oh my gosh, that's your mom." Like she'll like that aspect of it, but she doesn't really like pictures, videos. My husband is the same. My husband does not like pictures. He will never smile. You will never catch him smiling in any photos. Everyone thinks he hates me in all my photos because he's just like in every single one. He will never smile. He's always been like that ever since he got his braces off 12 years ago. But my daughter's just very shy, reserved, just like I was when I was a kid. I didn't like pictures. I didn't like lots of things like that. So if she ever wants to be in any, she knows she can let me know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how did with your parents, your mother in particular, when you started showing all the things online, what was her thought then when you first started to how it is now that you have made a success in doing it?
So that's an interesting conversation because especially when I started posting about cannabis, as I said, she's a principal, she's very well known. We live in not a smaller town, but there's only like 200,000 people here. So everyone knows our last name from my mom. She's been a principal in like every single elementary school here. When I was in high school, people would recognize my last name from her being the principal. So there was a few, I don't want to say arguments, but there was a few disagreements about how I was talking about things online and how it would get back to her from other teachers and stuff like that. And there was a really we had to have a conversation about what I was trying to do and how it's separated from her and it's not trying to take away from anything that she has worked hard for. Like she's so smart. She got her master's degree. She's a very hardworking woman. And I didn't want anything to take away from that. So that was something that I really had to explain to her and say, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm posting about it. I will never post anything that will make your name look a certain way. So that is also something I'm always very cautious of is that her
Mm,
last name is very known in the teaching and principal community. So that's just another hurdle that I have to kind of go over with posting things. And then as far as it being a job, since I did it making $0 for so long, I don't think, not just them, I don't think anyone over 60 really took my job seriously. I still don't think my grandparents take it seriously. So that was really hard to get them to take it seriously. Like, hey, this I pay taxes, I'm a business, I pay myself a paycheck, I make good money. Like there was a lot of conversations where they would sit me down and be like, how are you guys doing for money? Like how are you paying for things? And I would kind of have to show them and be like, this is what I
yeah.
didn't have to show them, but I felt like I needed to prove it almost. I don't know. It was a weird process to go
Hmm.
through.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
They're super supportive now. Like even when I was waiting for you to come on, my dad was in the driveway washing my car, and he was talking to my sister, and my sister was like, "Oh, where's Caitlin?" And he was like, "Oh, she's filming a reel or something in the office." Like he still doesn't fully know. I'm like, Dad, I told you what I'm doing. Like
Yeah, that's so cute. Oh, I love
they
that.
do the best they can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, and I was asking that too because I definitely have posted certain things and my parents have made comments or other family members or friends even,
The toys. I noticed
yeah,
you put the toys. Me
toys.
too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Or even I posted a couple of years ago and I shared this picture now, but I loved this photo shoot, but it was like me in like a onesie, like lingerie,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
not even like a baby doll thing, but like a little bodysuit, right? And it's kind of see-through or whatever, but like I'm not showing my nipples or whatever, like it doesn't matter. And my dad was just like, I just, there's just so many creepy people out there and blah, blah. I was like, Dad, they're going to be creepy with me in a bag. Like,
Yeah, no matter what you do.
no matter what, I said, and I'm more covered in this than like a bikini. Like, like, whatever. And I just, you know, now it's to the point where I'm like, hey, you know what? Someday you're going to be like, okay with all the things that I'm doing because you're going to benefit from it too.
No, exactly. My mom, like, I just took her to Mexico. My sister got to come to New York with me. My cousin came to New York with me. I bring as much people from my family as I can on these trips and opportunities that I get. And I try to always give them really good Christmas presents. So I'm like, see here. So I try to like pay it back. But I understand what you're saying because my husband's mom, super, super Catholic lady. Like their names are Noah, Roman, Bishop, Oliver, Sophie. Like that's all my husband's siblings' names, super Catholic, super from the Bible. So when I first started posting like how I help me and my husband's sex life, and I'm like, your poor mom's eyes. But she has always been really supportive of that and me. So I couldn't ask for a better family, honestly. Like they've always been really supportive, and even if they don't totally understand it, they
Wow.
do the best they can, and that's all I can really ask for.
I love that. That's great that you have that support. And
I need it. I need
yeah,
it.
absolutely. Well, you do an incredible job online. I mean, I definitely have, I still have your your suggestions that you sent me 3 years ago of like ideas to like create reels about. I
I
was
love
like,
talking about that stuff. I love sending people suggestions. It's my favorite.
I love it. I love it. And I think I did one of them maybe a few months ago, but I was like, okay, Kelly, you are going to sit down and you are going to go through all these ideas that Caitlin gave you and you're just going to knock them out. I'm work in progress.
You need to just don't listen to what anyone else says. You ride that Love is Blind train until the very end. That's all you can do with this job. You need to find your niche
Yeah.
and what makes you different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you different. You need to don't feel bad about that. Just keep posting every day about Love is Blind. I will
Okay.
double check it every single day.
I love it. Yeah, I was like writing down different like series, like topics. Like, oh, maybe I'll do a topic about, Love is Blind, or I'll do a series, like a 5-part series or a 10-part series on Love is Blind or my health journey or my debt, my financial journey, like relationships, dating, all that stuff. And just then I have like all this content to create that'll, take me a while to do. So I'm like, I can do that.
It's hard to, for me at least, I have all these ideas in my notes and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and write them down in my notes. And then just sitting down to actually film them is like this mental block that I have to get through. And then posting them, I always have these things. I'm like, what if no one likes it? What if it's stupid?
Yeah.
All the things that I constantly fight through.
Mm. Well, thank you for sharing that because it's very, just being so honest and raw and vulnerable about it just helps me to be like, okay, someone who like does this all the time, like still
It's
gets
so
that way.
so hard, and then I'll get that way, and then I'll be scared to post, so I won't post for like a week, and then I'll get in my head and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted in like 10 days. No one cares anymore. What if I post this? And then it doesn't, and it just, I get in my head, and it sounds so dumb to complain about, but when it's your job and how you make money, you this sounds really shallow, but your job is to stay relevant and to make people want to go to your page and look at what you're doing. And you need to be interesting. And I struggle with a lot of, well, I don't feel interesting. I don't feel like I'm interesting enough and all those things. So that's something I've really been trying to work through. Still working through it.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for helping me feel seen because 100%. I'm like, what do I talk about? Like, I don't
No,
even
I'm like, would I care if anyone said this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and again, I think that's why I'm like, I have to do this podcast because it's just longer form content. I can like fully get it out. I think, like I said, like the limitation of creating like a 7 to 10 second reel. I'm like, how do I get out a thought in 7 to 10 seconds that's going to be like so impactful and like
Yes.
educating or entertaining or whatever? And I know it does, but I'm just like,
You should see, like, I'll show my husband, I'll be like, does this make sense? And it'll be like me lip syncing or whatever, and it'll be a whole text block of what I'm trying to say because I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know what I'm trying to say. And he's like, maybe get rid of like those two sentences. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, that doesn't make sense though, but I can't post a whole paragraph. It's so hard for me to do that sometimes.
Oh, that's so refreshing to hear. Okay, good.
I'm glad I'm not alone because and
Yeah, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Oh my
I'll
God.
reread it over and over and then it won't make sense anymore. And I'm like,
Right.
does this make sense what I'm trying to say?
Totally. Absolutely. I agree. That's where I'm at with that too.
Relatable.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I want to ask you one more question and then we'll end this. What is one way, I'm just gonna start doing this on my podcast show now. What is one way that you're chasing life this year?
Oh, that's a good question. I think being fully myself and putting no limitations on myself and just allowing me to be me without the fear of being judged and just being honest with myself about what I'm feeling and what I'm going through and standing up for myself is another one.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all take that on. I feel like everybody could use
Me too.
let's take it on.
Stand up for myself more. That's probably the number one,
Yeah,
is just standing up for who I am and what I believe in, and knowing that if somebody doesn't like me for who I am, that's okay. I know my values and all those things.
I love that. I love that. And where can everybody find you?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Love.
Yeah, it's just my first and last name.
Awesome. So across all platforms, it's the same. Okay.
I got in early enough. I don't know if anyone has my name, but I got in early enough where nobody else had my name, so I could use
I
my
love.
name. Like my son the other day, he was trying to make a YouTube video. He thinks he's public, but it's all private. So he was trying to make a YouTube video and Jack Slomsky was taken, so he put like JVCK and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Love that. That's so cool.
He loves making YouTube videos for no one.
Yeah, but I love that. That's
He
cool.
thinks it's so cute. Like they both of them, both of my kids want to be YouTubers when they grow up.
Heck yeah.
I know, I'm like, you do you.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Encourage that and let them find their way and be self-expressed in the meantime. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly, totally.
I love that. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you download, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all the things, and give Miss Caitlin a follow on all the platforms. And we will talk soon. Love y'all. Bye.